China's foreign minister has warned that there will be, quote, confrontation and conflict between China and the U.S.
We want to pray.
toda kuti tinamati
There's friction between China and America
kusanzwisana kuri pakati kwechina neamerica
will escalate.
kuchaenderera mberi zvakanyanya.
So let us pray
Saka ngatinamatei
against a great war
kuti pasaitika hondo huru.
that might
If
come.
Washington does not change its approach to his country. Speaking on the sidelines of the National People's Congress, China's rubber stamp parliament, Foreign Minister Qin Gang blamed the U.S. for rising tension over Taiwan. He also hailed the relationship between Beijing and Moscow.
Leading countries should figure out what they want with each other. Do they want to build exclusive political blocs or foster friendship that is open and sincere? China and Russia have found a path of bilateral relations that features strategic mutual trust and good neighborliness, setting a good example for a new type of international relations.
And for more on this, let's bring in DW's Clifford Coonan. So, Clifford, does this mean now strengthened diplomatic ties between Russia and China? Just walk us through what he said.
Well, I think it definitely does. It certainly dispels anyone who thought that relations, that China's backing for Russia was anything more than, was it just a tacit support, is clearly, those doubts are gone. I think one of the quotes he said was, with China and Russia working together, the world will have a driving force. Now, this sounds to me like they're talking about forming a bloc and in some ways trying to isolate the United States, because I think it marks a significant escalation in this war of words that we've been having now especially since Russia's invasion of the Ukraine.
Diplomatically or also militarily?
Well, this is always the fear, is how quickly this can spill over. And, they've also, because of the situation between China and the US regarding Taiwan, you've got a whole new military dimension there.
He spoke, in fact, at length, we have to say, about U.S. relations, and he was openly critical about American policy toward Beijing. What specifically did he criticize, and did he also speak about Taiwan in that regard when it came to the U.S.?
Well, I think what's happening, Qin Gang knows the U.S. very well. He was the ambassador there. He's very experienced in U.S.-China relations. What he's doing is they're basically saying that the U.S. Forced Russia to invade Ukraine by backing Ukraine. And they're creating an equivalence to some extent with Taiwan, saying that by selling arms to Taiwan, which is a major bugbear in US-China relations, that by doing this, they're putting China into the position where it may have to act militarily. That's the background to the threats. And these are very serious, and it is an escalation in the war of words.
President Xi Jinping also speaking about Chinese-U.S. relations in a speech. He condemned what he called, and I'm reading it here, the U.S.-led suppression of China. Mm-hmm. What was meant by that?
Yeah, suppression, containment. He also said these are words that we know from the Cold War era. He means that and it's a common Communist Party language used to describe how the West is trying to hold China back to stop China's advance. But Xi Jinping has always stopped short of mentioning the US by name. And indeed, in the speech that he gave it in Chinese, it's mentioned, but it's not mentioned in the English translation. They talk more about international issues. But it does, again, mark an escalation in what's a rhetorical war at this stage. And this is a very worrying development.
Do you think he's just playing to the domestic base here?
I don't think so, because I think there's no way that this is going to come out in English and not get back to the domestic market. So I think it marks an international. This is happening in the international arena.
DW's Clifford Coonan, thank you.